This video is sponsored by Baby Bliss Mom and Baby Shop.
I'm Abatete, aka Mrs. Ovenansa. We have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. I work as a strategist in a bank.
I'm Joshua Ovenansa, a financial analyst. Our son is 4 years old, our daughter 11 months.
Before we got married, we had discussed about children, but we weren't ready to have kids immediately we got married, like in the usual Ghanaian sense. We said we were going to give ourselves a year, but we ended up settling for 6 for 6 months before we seriously looked at becoming pregnant. The night I became pregnant, I told my husband I'm pregnant. You remember? I told him I'm pregnant and it's a boy.
So I think after a couple of months living together, we needed to revise our notes. The 1 year wasn't going to be feasible because we thought to allow nature and God to take its own course rather than us having a timeline. So we prayed about it and we went for it. And yeah, I think at night she told me she's pregnant. Yeah.
Oh, we waited for a month. Or was it 5 weeks to do the test? And then there was confirmation. But yeah, I knew.
She knew she was pregnant that night. How she knew, I don't know, but she knew she was pregnant.
People going out of their way to be kind, the pregnant woman, give away, that kind of thing. I actually found that a bit annoying, but that's the way it goes. Well, I don't like things being done for me, and more especially because of what situation I find myself in. But it was enjoyable. People will ordinarily not go out of their way to assist you, but when you are pregnant, it's like their better nature takes precedence, and yeah.
I wasn't pregnant, so but enjoy. I think the expectation of it ending and having the baby was what I was looking up to. So yeah, but the process itself, I didn't. You need to be on the alert at all times. Every little thing calls for further questioning. Are you okay? Do you need this? Do you need that? How are you feeling? Every little thing. And I think that we had a bit of a scare in the first trimester when she had a bit of a blood issue.
Yes.
So from that point she was off everything.
From that point, no strenuous activity.
Yeah.
So
I didn't enjoy it because I needed to do everything.
It was taking me to work every morning.
It's a mixed feeling. It's fear mixed with a bit of joy that your status will change. You call the father, But you hadn't gone through the process before, so you don't know what to expect as it progresses. You are living day by day, hoping everything is okay. There wasn't any manual, and no one will talk you through. Silence here, and so you discover things as you go on.
Yeah, I do research. Researched a lot. That one, hands down. I'm the researcher here, and anything I'll send for him to read. So when it comes to certain things, and I'm referencing, he said, no. I'm like, you didn't read what I said. But yes, researching a lot, I think, helped me in terms of my peace of mind with what's going on within my body.
Yeah. Mine was more of clarity from the doctor, because when we had a very good gynecologist who was very open to
all the questions
and giving us clarity about our concerns. So yeah, when I read and I'm confused, I get clarity from him medically. But living day by day. You don't have any manual. You need to couch your own environment and go forward with it. I will start that one. Sleepless nights. I can't sleep comfortably anymore. We needed to change positioning because you use the washroom very often. I don't want this. I don't want to see this vegetable in the fridge. Take it away. I feel nauseated. I want this vegetable you buy. I don't want to see it again. Take it away. Like you just don't know what is the right thing to do because everything seems right 1 minute and everything seems wrong. There is the on and off moods of the pregnancy. It wasn't.
The vegetable thing, that was the first trimester. You know, we started trying out new vegetables that were not on the regular. So like not the usual carrots, lettuce, beetroot things. We're trying some other new ones to add to menu.
For which you requested.
Oh yes. And then subsequently, when I became pregnant, I didn't want to see those vegetables again. Those new vegetables were annoying. I mean, when I see them, then I just get angry. I'm like, take it out of the fridge. I don't want to see these things again. But the pain of the pregnancy, I had a peculiar issue of having fibroid with my first pregnancy. It was only discovered during the scan. So subsequently, as the pregnancy progressed, I was having more pain than the doctor would say you would usually be. So walking was a problem, driving was a problem. So I stopped driving prior to the second trimester. Yes, and I was cold all the time. I needed to have on long sleeves because at any moment I could become cold, and I didn't know when that will happen.
I was hot all the time. I was deprived my comfort at all times. You can't use AC, you can't use the fan. It's like, you know, and I am someone who sweats a lot. So it was so much of sacrifice to let your comfort go. Very quick for the other person.
You were a trooper. The day of delivery didn't start as the day of delivery because it was at dawn. When around 2-3 a.m. and that was I think it was the mucus plug unplugging. But my husband was all up that we should get quickly to the hospital and all that. So when we got there, we had called the doctor prior to getting to the hospital. So he had asked that they check to see how many millimeters are dilated, and it was just a centimeter. So it was more of like, okay, let's hang around and see what will happen. And then he decided that it would be best to induce me because of the fibroid issue and where it was located, because it could block the birth canal when the child is coming out or not. But he wanted to be sure before he thinks of doing anything drastic. We had discussed pain management during pregnancy, and I was all for no
pain management at all.
And I'm going to go through the whole process of delivery and everything will be fine. But somewhere along the way, you made a call.
As she said, it wasn't a planned delivery date. I was waking up at midnight that the mucus plug is out. And me not being a medical person, the safe place to be is to be at the hospital. So around 3 a.m. I called the doctor, arranged, and they gave me some other contacts at the hospital to drive to. So we went there prepared for anything that will happen, packed everything in. And the journey started. She was dilated, and we were waiting for her to be fully dilated. So around 2, the dilation was taking
Forever.
like 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, and the pain had intensified.
You see, that is, I particularly don't remember any pain, but he says that I was making noise such that I was in pain. So he decided to call for an anesthetist.
So I called the doctor to see what we can do about the screaming and the short burst of anger and all that. And I was giving a contact of an anesthetist to call. So we got him on board and he was administered.
Yeah, he administered an epidural. Yes, it was a first for me. I mean, my first child was a lot of firsts in terms of having an IV line in my arm, a catheter. There were so many firsts. Having a drip, all those days were a first for me. But relatively, I think it went well, because with the epidural, yes, I was more relaxed. I could feel the contractions. Like when I touched my belly, I could feel the contractions. So I was able to time and effectively push the baby out by just feeling for the contractions, because the epidural is supposed to numb you from the pain, which would have essentially helped you push. But by not feeling the pain, it might take longer to actually push. But because I could feel the contractions when I touched my belly, I was able to, yeah.
That she said she didn't have any pain.
But you see, I don't remember the moaning and the screaming that he refers to. But when he made the call for the anesthetist, I'm like, okay, you are the one who is in the room with me. So if you are making that call, I will just go through with it, and yeah, but it turned out well.
Really well. Really well.
I don't have anything to compare it with except for what people have said. You know, I was in a theater with midwives and the anesthetist and then my obs guy. But somewhere along the way, we were just left with one midwife and the anesthetist and my obs guy. So you were in the delivery room. Yes, okay.
I was there. I think labor, I think when he dilated like 5, 6.
It was 6.
6
centimeters.
She was taking, we prepared her for theater, so I was told I wouldn't be allowed, for which I had negotiated all through the pregnancy to be at the delivery suite. I was told
no men
are allowed because they've tried it a couple of times
and they fainted.
They needed to attend to other medical issues with the men. So we said our goodbyes and she left. I was waiting. I thought it's going to be 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes something, because they said 6 minutes she's coming to deliver. I was waiting and for an hour or more, and no word was coming. I was just anxious. Then I had a call from the anesthetist that I should come down. So I went, met him, and he said, we are going. So they took me through the protocols and I went to the delivery suite. So it was there that I realized there's a bit of drama going on. And I think her timing to push, she wants to push. The midwife says, don't push. There was a bit of drama.
I told the midwife, why is it that I want to push and you are telling me to stop pushing? So at that point, the doctor told the midwives to leave and left the head matron, yes. And so I was there with the 2 doctors and then the head matron when they asked me for his number. And they called him. And it was a fortunate thing because I had just memorized his number that morning. I mean, I just go on speed dial and dial his number. But for some weird reason that day, I just took the number. Like, I need to memorize this number. And I memorized it. And so when they asked me for his number, I was able to give it. And he was called to join us in the theater. It was my fan. They was like, you can do it.
So when I got there and I realized there was a bit of tension, I told her to calm down. I didn't know what to do, but she needed to calm down. So when we had that word, we just whispered a bit of a prayer. And I told the doctor, because then it was just the doctor, the anesthetist, and the matron. So that she's ready now to push. So she tried the first one, and they said the head is coming. And I told her to breathe, because she had done a bit of breathing exercise. I told her to just do the breathing exercise and go the full haul. And so she went the full haul and she just pushed one long, I don't know whether it took a minute or so, one long push and everything came. And because of that forceful nature, she had a tear.
There was an episiotomy. You weren't there when, yes.
There was a cut. So I was there for about 15 minutes and my baby was out.
Yes. Baby Kobuna was out. that was with Sumpa the second, the girl. That was different. I was also induced with her. She was 1 week over like the brother. So 41 weeks and some days. But with her,
it was planned. We
were going to induce because the obs-gynae who delivered the brother was going to be away, and I didn't want that he wouldn't be around when I was going to go into labor. So
we didn't want another person who doesn't understand us too, because the medical support, if you don't really understand the individual, it's difficult to gel and relate, and we weren't ready to be offloaded just a couple of days to someone else. So that one we chose.
That's why we chose that beyond the 40 weeks, there will be a planned induction. Yeah, so when she was 41 weeks plus and some days, we did the induction. And it was a very quick one. I mean, the very first one with Inshoma, when they inserted the tablet for the induction, it was so painful. So I told the doctor, I don't want this induction, no, because I was recalling the first one, how painful it was anytime they put in that piece of tablet. But this one, when he inserted I didn't feel anything.
Because he did it.
Yes, it was a doctor who did it this time.
So that's why the first person, the first coroner, it was the nurse who was instructed to do it. And because they didn't have any prior relationship, they do it as though they are doing anything. They don't care whether it's painful or not. They are doing their job. But with the obs and gynae, because we had built a relationship over a period
was it?
Of a prayer, I think so. He was a bit more reasonable in setting the
setup. So relatively, it was a very quick one. It didn't take too long with the second when I was induced. That one too, there was another drama. But
the dilation stopped at a point in time. For like 4 hours, she wasn't dilating anymore. So we are expecting the baby around 5-ish. And as at 2, she was still 3
centimeters dilated. Yeah.
And for 4 hours, she had been 3 for a very long time. And our daughter needed to leave to go grab something to eat. It was when he left. That's when the drama began.
Yeah, talk about the drama.
Yeah.
I mean, so apparently I'm making morning sounds. I still don't remember all those sounds, but apparently I was in a lot of pain. Unlike the first one, we're in a different facility. We didn't have the anesthetist because he was not attached to that new place we were giving birth for the second. So we couldn't have him give us an epidural, but they had a pain management.
So we had an anesthetist waiting.
But it wasn't going to give an epidural.
We were going to give an epidural, but not a line.
Okay, it wasn't going to give me a line, but this one is supposed to just help with like
the delivery.
5 hours of pain management during the delivery process.
But you need to dilate beyond 3 centimeters before they administer.
Yeah.
And she wasn't dilating, and the man was sitting there waiting for her to dilate beyond 3. And it wasn't happening. And the pain kept on increasing. And she started screaming.
I thought I was managing it, but apparently from witnesses around, I wasn't managing it as well as I thought. But fortunately, I don't think I was insulting anyone.
For me, I was excited, and I had the privilege of cleaning up my own baby, because right after delivery, he was given to the mom, and I think she wasn't in a good place.
No, they didn't give him more.
They took him to the light.
They wanted to take him and give him the fluorescent UV light. So I didn't get to hold him until later, and because of the epidural, I couldn't move the lower part of my body, and the part that I could move was just the right hand. I couldn't move my left hand either, and I'm strongest with my left hand. So I was basically motionless. Yes.
I cleaned him up because I cleaned him up. I heard the first cry.
I heard him cry.
I had the first cry. I cleaned him up. It was joy. It was a bundle of joy. Same for the second one.
The second one, yes. I held her immediately. She was born. As soon as it took her out, they just wiped her face, wiped her body, and then she was given to me. And she had opened her eyes and she was looking at me. I think my first words were, "Oh, she's so cute."
I think she forgot to say something way back during the pregnancy with your folic acid for the second.
Oh, okay. So I found out prior to my second pregnancy that I was allergic to folic acid, and you know, folic acid is something that is given to the go-to tablet for every pregnant person. In fact, prior to getting pregnant, they said you should start taking folic acid 3 months to planning your pregnancy. So with the first one, I wasn't aware of that. So subsequently, when we wanted another child, I started taking folic acid. But then I started experiencing allergic symptoms, so I went to the hospital. And I charted my meals for a month. Or was it 2 months? Yes, over 2 months. But we still couldn't pinpoint what was causing the allergies. And in one of the hospital visits, I asked the doctor, the one new thing I have started is taking folic acid on the regular. Are you sure that it is not the cause of this allergy? Oh, he said, no, he doesn't think so. I waited for like a week, and I'm like, okay, let me research this folic acid and see. And apparently there is such a thing, you know.
You actually miss taking the folic acid for a day. You didn't take it?
I didn't take it, and I didn't experience the allergy reaction the next day. I mean, not in the severe form I had been reacting to.
So that is when we became aware it might be a possible cause for the allergic reaction. So
I stopped taking folic acid, and I was fine.
We actually went to her mom's from the hospital because mine was far away and hers was closer. So we went to a month for a month.
For the first, we were there for a month. Only because even though work gives us 3 months, and I had my leave days as well, that would have made it almost 4 months. We left at 1 month because the idea was, if I'm going to be taking care of the child subsequently when I resume work or when I come, why not start immediately then, so that at least I have a proper schedule I can fall onto when I resume work fully. So at a month old, we came back to our abode. Yeah.
We had a month of reprieve and help, and we didn't have any house help. And so the two of us were managing the baby, from bathing to feeding to everything.
It was interesting. Those times were really interesting.
It was tiring.
They were tiring, but they were interesting too. I mean, from baby massage.
You needed to learn everything too. So at least make yourself comfortable and make the baby comfortable.
Yeah.
Because if we are both tired, then we are doomed. So we needed to have a
run shift. And I was pumping, so it helped with me being able to get a bit of shut-eye during the night. So when I pump some milk during the day, at least in the first half of the night, Papa can
3 to 4 hours I take care of the baby. So instead of going for mommy for breast milk, the breast milk is warmed and I feed the baby. I carry him around
and do squats to get him to sleep.
Do everything possible to get him to sleep so that I can sleep more. So the mother is, a bit refreshed, about 4 hours sleep, then she takes over, then I continue.
Yeah.
I actually love my privacy. And right before we got married, I told her that we should assume that we are out of the country, we are living all by ourselves. So as much as possible, we should be able to handle the challenges that comes to us all by ourselves. Because not so much pleasant story of having people coming to be a help and later they become a burden to you. So we actually made that commitment that whatever the situation is, when you have a child, you try as much as possible to do it all by ourselves. Whether we are in the country or out of the country, we should be able to do it.
I think that helped, having that mindset between the two of us that we are going to do these things by ourselves. It was a good decision I think we didn't envision the work that it will involve and the tiredness that will come from it all. But
because no one told us baby making was tiring. No one told us it was. They make it sound so
it's rosy.
Rosy, it's easy. Like the baby sleeps. You feed the baby.
The baby sleeps. You also sleep. Yeah, that's it.
You can do things when they are okay. It's when they are fed well, they are left alone. Because my mom would tell me, when you cry a bit, you put toys, you play, you sleep. All that you need, you are fed well. If the baby is fed well, they sleep. So I knew when the baby is fed well, all that they need is they play and sleep. I didn't know that whether they are fed well or not.
Some of them don't want to sleep.
They want attention. So yeah, it took a toll on us. But we are okay to go on with it because we had already made that commitment. And making a decision in the midst of it, I think we would have made a wrong decision if we had pushed it. So we braced ourselves and carried on. Especially when the second one, when the first one came. our sleeping arrangement, everything in the house has to be
Revolved around the baby.
yeah. It had always been them trying to make it work for them and ourselves as well. So a lot of adjustment. Now she sleeps with the younger one. I sleep with the elderly one, and yeah, a lot of adjustment. But now we do have a help, a living help, because they are two now, and we can do it.
At least when it comes to the household work, the help can handle that, and occasionally handle the babies if I need to do other things. So it has relieved some of the burden, yes, and then the tiredness. Now I can say we are becoming more experienced in terms of arrangements and taking care of the two kids, even before the help came in. Even with that extra hand, those extra hands, we can still work our way around in terms of what we need to do and all that.
Extra hand even came in because of the COVID.
We got the extra hand because of the COVID, because the elder one now at home, no school, me going to work, and then the baby being 11 months, we needed the extra pair of hands. So yes.
You should have told us that when they are kids, they fall ill on the regular, and it's so tiring. But in Shuma, at a point in time, was like
constant ear infections.
Almost every month or every other month, I need to take him to the doctor.
Yes.
The cycle, not sleeping, temperature, malaria, it's
malaria. He never got malaria, but temperature, virus infections from school. He'll go to school for 2 weeks, and then the very next 2 weeks he will not be in school because he has an infection, either bacterial. No, not bacterial. They are mostly viral infections and ear infections. You treat still. But now I think it's getting better.
And not having enough time for yourself. Because everywhere you go is daddy, mommy. Like you are not able to have an alone time.
Yeah, washroom so you go.
Even if you put a lid on them, they will come out.
But it's okay. I mean, as we go along and he grows older, he seems to be understanding boundaries and all that. So a little human being is learning as he goes along, just as we also learn how to manage him. Potty training 2. No, okay. It started before 2 actually.
He showed signs of it.
Wanting to go to the washroom when you go in there.
But he wouldn't sit. He would sit on the potty but stand and poo. And he had a peculiar way of pooing. He always stands to poo. So the potty. But to pass urine,
he would stand.
Yeah, he would stand.
He would stand. So we started off with the urine, but if you are going to the washroom, we said, would you want to join me? We made a whole song about going to the washroom, and we got him a potty that looked like the big potty, so that he can use that, because he never liked the crabber. He would sit on it and get up, so he wouldn't even sit. So with the one that looked like the bigger potty, he would sit in it and use it. He wouldn't use it to poo-poo, but he would use it to pee. And then we got the ones with the steps to put on a big potty, and he would go sit. And because that one is a big potty, he would do a poo-poo in there. So gradually, he's by 2.5 years, he was fully potty trained, and we had to, for the day, and then during the night, we had to use the diaper. But now, he doesn't use the diapers anymore. By 3, he had stopped using the diapers for sleeping. But he doesn't get up by himself. You have to prompt him every couple of hours and take him to the washroom to use the washroom. I mean, it was a gradual process, and I think it helps. It gives him confidence about going to the washroom. Now he goes, if he wants to go, he will just say he wants to go, and only if there's no light in the washroom. But if the light is there, he just goes, puts his steps on it, and then does his business. If he needs to be wiped down, he will call for it. Or try. Or put the tissue in the potty, but yes, it's all part of it. And yeah, I would say he's potty trained. The little one is yet to get there. She's just 11 months, so I kiss them all the time. When I'm going to work, they get kisses on the cheeks, on the forehead. Before I wave bye-bye, they get a kiss good night. Cheeks, forehead, good night. When they wake up, they get kisses. They are asked how did they sleep? Did they sleep well? Yeah, before we pray. Yeah, so I'm like, I want them to be affectionate. So it's.
I'm not so affectionate.
I want them to be affectionate. I wasn't brought up that way, but I think it's good to be able to show affection and not keep everything inside. So if I model it for them, they can also show it to themselves and to others. So yeah, as for the kisses, they get it. They get it all the time. And I love you, you know.
So
yeah, I
so
tell them.
People accuse my son of being too romantic. The aunties accuse him of being too romantic.
I think it's good. I mean, I think it's good.
When he says goodbye to you and it's evening, he definitely will come and kiss you. Like,
Yes.
the aunties, if he has that rapport with you.
No, it's not everybody he kisses. That's one day. Yes.
Yeah.
He knows, I didn't show him that, but he knows those he says he can kiss good night too. And I miss you and all that.
And
yes.
I love you. And he can even ask for a cuddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we are doing good in that. Yeah. Showing affection. Yes.
That had been an uphill battle. That is our Achilles heel with the first one. Unless he's super exhausted. We had tried everything within the book.
He doesn't do naps anymore.
He wouldn't sleep unless he wants to sleep.
Even with no naps. So I think the earliest he has slept is 8 o'clock. For some minutes past 8. But if he was able to nap in the afternoon,
Forget it.
he wants to watch
we had
cartoons.
You had regimented sleep times, reading to him to sleep. It all didn't work. So I think what really started working for us is
to
me
drive
pretending
him to be
I'm
asleep.
asleep. So we go to bed. I pretend I'm asleep for an hour.
Then you fall asleep.
You rave and rant and talk, and he sleeps. Like, yeah. But we haven't been.
Oh, but the baby is okay. I mean, when she feeds, she gets her milk. I mean, she's still breastfeeding. She will fall asleep unless the brother comes around. Then that becomes a chore.
Later.
Yes.
We are liberal but with restrictions. It's not. We tend to set boundaries. We allow him to make his choice. So he will listen to any other music that is played around. I wouldn't particularly play only
Gospel
or religious music. I will allow for other music to come. But there are certain music I don't allow for him to listen, or when I hear him sing, I tell him this is not a good voice. It's a bad word song.
Yeah, it's a guy song.
It's a guy song. So he knows that this is a guy song. And when he hears this guy, then he will stop. He knows this guy. So yeah, we allow for him to experience everything
within limits.
Within limits.
Yes.
Because he wouldn't know what the limits will be. He will always push the boundary. So you need to be able to let him know this is homework.
I mean, for now, he's 4 years. As he grows older, he should know what is and what is not and make that decision for himself. But as best as we can, we don't overly expose him to things that we don't want him to do for now. I mean, it's inevitable. I will turn off the TV if there's a scene and they are shooting guns.
Yeah, like something as basic as that. Where is the remote? Where is the remote? Yeah. She says scientifically when she's 6 years plus, the gunshots might not have an effect.
Yeah, okay, so I have, from research, child psychology, like I said, I read a lot. From below the age of 6 months, the brain makes connections with certain activities, and violence has been shown to put up certain synapses in the brain that signals certain pathways, and those pathways do not neurologically help a child as they grow older. So until past the age of 6 months, I don't want him to get overly exposed or know about violent activities and those things. So I try to keep him away from it, yes. And not watch certain types of cartoons as well.
Yeah. Very particular. I not to watch a lot of cartoons with my people. Like having...
he shouldn't be conditioned books at this age about skin color and things. Yeah. So I want, when he's having books and there are too many white people in it, there should be some diversity. So I screen his books as well.
And even toys.
And toys
and
too.
Dolls.
So yes, my daughter doesn't have a white doll. She only has black dolls. And I don't. He said he's never wanted that place of, oh papa ba, my culture, that kind of business. Yes. So we all correct as it happens and not wait until later or wait for the other person to come. But when the other comes, we inform so that you know what took place and the decision that took place, so that there's consistency between the discipline that we give.
I do a mixture. The mother doesn't do, but I do a mixture of everything. I do denial, I do spanking, I do talking to, I do everything. It's a case by case situation.
I don't like the spanking.
The mother doesn't like the spanking.
And I don't like the threats.
She doesn't.
Mine own is, do this or you don't get that. Or I will tell you, I distancing, because you haven't done what I had said you should do. I am not in good terms with you. So I draw the line between what you do and what you are not allowed to do. Yes. And occasionally, in very, very rare occasions, I give a spank, but it's a controlled spank. So you did this and I asked you not to do it. So because of that, you are getting 2 on your palm. Then you know, and it is done. So that you know that I will give you according to what I had said I will do. I'm not comfortable. The idea is the consequences.
There are other times you realize he deliberately is doing to test whether he will be beaten.
Because you have said you beat him.
Because you have said if he doesn't stop or if he does it, he will be spanked. He's trying to see whether truly it will happen. For that, I don't miss that opportunity.
Hey.
I correct him. And the mother is not so happy with that, but yeah. I do the mixture. The mother, when she spanks him small, you realize she's sad. You see her sad sitting there. So time she wants to even cry for the baby. The one who had been spanked doesn't want to cry. She wants to cry for spanking the baby. And even when I'm annoyed with him, he consciously comes to strike a relationship.
Yeah, because he can see it.
That is when he will come and ask you all the questions. That is this, that is that. He knows I'm upset with him. He doesn't bring it. he knows I don't do it to hurt him. He knows he has done something wrong and he's being corrected. So I don't see it to
need that be nice, and then he'll like you more. That business,
like more. I crossed that bridge of him knowing that I like him regardless of who he is.
Is he jealous of the kids? No. I think he gets a bit more frustrated than he would normally by small things. I mean, small things to me. If he's not writing his letters well, he's written it well before. So you know he can write it. Don't be persistent that he should get the letter right. I mean, if he has twisted the 6, he has written 6 correctly before. So you know he can write 6. So let's leave it. When he's in a better frame of mind, you will write the 6 correctly.
Am I jealous?
No, but I'm just saying you get frustrated. The jealousy, I wouldn't say he gets jealous of the kids. He gets a bit more frustrated with things that I think he shouldn't get frustrated by. But jealousy, no. All that goes.
My first experience of carrying a baby at my back, I never knew I could do that. But now I do it.
Now he will take the cloth and carry the baby on his back. He says he doesn't have any breast to anchor the cloth, but he tries.
Yeah. But I always had it in mind. I would just pat them, they'll be by my shoulder. By the time came, I realized
the back is more effective.
They are comfortable, so I needed to learn. So now I can do that and do other things. I can put them at my back.
Yeah. That's what we got.
Carry the 2 of them
at the same time.
When they are not sleeping.
When you are holding the baby, then the older one wants you to carry him as well. So you have both. It's like macho man.
Like almost a third of my weight hanging on me.
But yeah, you do well. We have peculiar songs for them. We insert their names in the local rhymes when you sing it. Say, "Show my dear on pesu on pe." What is it? Bathing. When it comes to bathing, bath. That's the name for bath. When it comes to the water, splash. Then you'll be playing with the water, splash. Make the funny faces is always there. Peekaboo. Hey, I mean.
The one will cover herself with the cloth.
So you can play games with peekaboo. Cover her eyes.
You can't see me.
I can see you.
Yeah.
And the older one sings for the baby now when she starts crying. Baby little girl, don't cry.
When they tell you allergy.
The smiles.
When whatever happens, when he comes, when he doesn't see you,
he look for you
for some minutes and he sees you and say, I miss you, and I love you.
And they haven't seen you, and they still look like, Mommy! And you run. Like the smile, like.
It makes the burden of caring for them lighter, super light.
They are your own personal fan base. Like right now, I work at home, working out at home, workout, no gym. Hey, I'm my number 1 fan. Go, mommy, go! You're jumping like yeah. and even the baby, when she sees me skipping, she's all excited. She's smiling. You could see she's like edging me on, and I'm happy.
And you have someone to call, like count on.
They are counting my steps. Like 1, 2.
Parenting, marriage, childbirth, labor, it's tough. It's really tough on us because there are so many things that goes on in the woman's anatomy that you never understand. Regardless of how well they would like to explain it to you, you can only imagine, you wouldn't really understand. So as much as possible, we need to be open-minded to learn. because in the marriage and in childbirth and parenting, the only thing that is new is adding new lessons, because every day comes with its own package. So if you are open-minded and willing to learn and make a bit of adjustment and compromise, marriage, parenting, childbirth will be a bit easy. It shouldn't be smooth, but it will be a bit easy. If you are close-minded and you stick to what you've been told, then it becomes way more frustrating than it should.
You can prepare as best as you can, but not everything is 100%. From marriage to planning on pregnancy to actually becoming pregnant, from the childbirth and everything. The best thing you can do is arm yourself with the knowledge about all of these things. No, I mean, people have gone through it. You're not the only one. If there are people who are willing to talk to you about their experiences, all well and good, but yours is yours. So learn from those who have written about it, learn from those who are willing to share, but also know that your situation is yours as well, and it will not be as happened for somebody else or as you envisioned. So be open to unexpected things happening as well, but be prepared that what you have planned for may not necessarily happen in the way that you want it to, and adjust. I think the best thing you can do is adjust and make the best out of the situation. Yeah.
And ask questions.
Yeah, that's what we've realized. Ask questions. Our system doesn't encourage questions, but you should be curious to ask questions. Even if you think this is the norm, still ask, because it's not normal for some people. What you think is normal is not normal for some people, so ask.
I think the men should also learn to be a bit patient, because pregnancy and delivery and after delivery, there are a lot of things that happen, and one thing that happens is your ability to deny yourself your instincts, your sexual instincts, and go a couple of months, because I can boast going 4 months.
It's a boost.
Yeah,
I think other men will say it's not.
Yeah, because I have people who couldn't do 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
They couldn't do 6 weeks. I needed to wait it out for 4 months.
Because after the first, it took a while before I healed. I think the first was more painful healing afterwards than my second, and I said it. With the first, I stayed 4 days extra in the hospital. With my second, the next day I was out. Yeah.
So you should be able to make adjustments and wait it out for some time, maybe 2 months, 1 month.
This video was brought to you by Baby Bliss Mom and Baby Shop.